Welcome everyone, I'm Russell Alexander. I've been a lawyer with the team here at Russell Alexander Collaborative Family Lawyers for over 20 years. We help families who are going through separation and divorce. Without further ado, let's get into today's topic. Were they former spouses or just roommates? In what is called an unusual case, the court had to determine whether the man and woman were spouses in the family law sense, or simply roommates who benefit from living together in various circumstances over a span of the years they knew each other. The trajectory of the couple's relationship and its eventual legal demise was rather unique. In 1983, the woman who was Canadian met the man of Egyptian background in the United States, where they both were students. They began a relationship. The woman returned to Canada, and they continued to see each other over the long distance. The man was qualifying to be a doctor. They married quietly in 1984, and then again in 1986 in a religious ceremony with friends present. The woman living and working in Canada, the man turned down a good U.S. job in the medical field to join her there. The man bought a condominium in anticipation of life together, but the woman never joined him after the marriage. Instead, she engaged in a series, essentially, of stalling tactics that saw her travel to and remain in Vancouver near family. By 1989, the man concluded that the woman had no intention of moving from Vancouver to Toronto to be with him, and he realized that the relationship was going nowhere. They had not had any sexual contact or physical intimacy whatsoever since their second wedding in 1986. The man started divorce proceedings in 1990, which prompted the distraught woman to call several times, asking him to reconcile. The man refused, and their divorce ultimately became final in 1990. Still, they continued to be involved in each other's lives in some respects. The man became a Canadian citizen and got a good job in Toronto. Even though he wanted nothing to do with the woman, relationship-wise, he acquiesced in renting out part of his condo to her. Conversely, she helped him from time to time, advising on various business matters. However, they kept their finances separate, and their social time together was occasional. In 1999, the woman moved out of the condo and bought a court claim asking for $325,000 in lump sum spousal support from a former spouse under the Divorce Act, or alternatively under the Family Law Act, because they were still a couple. The man insisted they were nothing more than good friends throughout their entire time together. The court eventually heard the matter in 2005. The court described the tenor of the litigation this way. The parties' positions couldn't be more polarized. At its heart, the dispute is whether the woman was a spouse entitled to the kinds of relief available following the breakdown of a conjugal relationship, or whether she was just a roommate or friend who benefited from the man's kindness and generosity. The court began by considering the extent of their conjugal relationship and cohabitation. This, the court said, was the conceptual basis for entitlement to support. First, the court made some interesting observations about the personalities of each of the parties, stating the woman is a very bright woman with great strategic ability. In spite of presenting numerous lapses of memory in the course of her testimony, the court believes she was really quite gifted and does not forget much. The court doubted much escapes her attention or awareness. She loves business, planning, and complexity. Her ability to understand and manipulate numbers was well demonstrated. The court believes she was able to manipulate people too. She is aggressive in business and finance and is willing to take chances. Money is very important to her. She likes to have it, control it, and keep it. The man is equally bright. He is gentle, somewhat passive, inattentive to detail, and perhaps naive. His main love is his work. Beyond that, he prefers to leave the details to someone else. In spite of some very good income and substantial assets, he lives relatively simply. He is not lavish in his spending, but gets what he needs. He doesn't know much about money or its management. Money is just another detail. He doesn't have the time for a large social circle, but is very loyal to friends and family is important to him. He is optimistic, trusting, generous with friends and family, pragmatic and somewhat conservative in social values and lifestyle. He is quite a quiet person. He doesn't like confrontation and avoids it if at all possible. The woman's aggressive personality and interest in money found a soft spot in the man's more passive approach to people and material things. The court did not conclude that the woman set out consciously to take advantage of the man. They were truly friends. However, their very different personality produced a synergy that led them to a very unusual lifestyle. If you're enjoying this video and find it helpful, give us a thumbs up or leave a comment below. Next, the court described the parties' sleeping arrangements throughout the periods when they were living together under the same roof. While there was sharing of beds, it was a very unusual situation. It seems that the initiative was the woman's, not the man's. He testified that the woman would crawl into his bed from time to time, not vice versa. The woman did not dispute this and shared her bed, and the shared bed was never described by her as our bed. When they did share a bed, they might as well have been in separate rooms or different cities, because there was never any sexual, intimate, or physical contact. The court concluded that any sharing of a bed was not done as the mutual expression of comfort, love, and companionship, or sexual satisfaction. It could not have been more platonic. This was in addition to the other evidence that persuaded the court that the parties were truly just friends, and their relationship was mutually convenient. Neither of them supported the other financially, nor did they assist the other in pursuing their career. They essentially maintained separate lives and residences. Tellingly, there was no evidence that he and the woman socialized as a couple, nor that they pooled their resources or had joint bank accounts. The man's workplace colleagues all thought he was single, and he dated other women from time to time. The extent of their interaction seemed to involve playing sports, eating out, and traveling. On this basis, and after noting that the woman's evidence lacked credibility in important respects, the court ultimately concluded that the pair were not in a conjugal relationship either before or after the 1999 divorce, stating when the court took all of this into account and considered the evidence closely, giving the woman every allowance and considering the evidence as a whole, the court concluded her testimony is not reliable or credible in many important respects. In the result, the court did not believe her on important aspects of her characterization of the relationship and many of the issues raised in respect of her financial circumstances. Although the court was skeptical of the likelihood that a man could allow a woman to live with him and even sleep in his bed for so many years without being in a sexual relationship, the court concluded this was indeed how they lived. It was probably the relaxed friendship of a man and woman, mutually convenient to each, based on individual personalities and separate motivations, but not on a relationship of trusting partners throwing their lot in life together, sharing and mutually supporting one another. The court ruled that the woman was not entitled to spousal support in these circumstances. To learn more about this case, you can read the full article linked in the description below. Please leave your thoughts and comments below. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up to let us know. You can subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notification every time we upload a new video. Thank you for watching.